Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to fill out Form I-134. That's going to be part of your Affidavit of Support documents that you're going to be showing at the K1 Visa interview. So, who has to fill this out? The USCIS, the US citizen will be the person filling out this form. So, another question that I get a lot is, wait, what happened with Form I-864? Is that different from Form I-134? And yes, the Form I-134 is for the Affidavit of Support before getting your K1 visa. It's to apply for the K1 visa, and then the Affidavit of Support I-864 is once your fiance, your foreign fiance, is in the United States. Then when you're applying for the green card, the adjustment of status, that's when the US citizen has to fill out Form I-864. So yes, they're different. Yes, you need to fill out both, but in this case, we're just going to be reviewing the Form I-134. So first thing you need to do is go to USCIS. So remember to not click on any links that you see on the internet, because many of the links that are shown on blogs or some of the or some websites, even some lawyer websites, are already have outdated forms. So make sure to always click on the USCIS link on your browser. So click on that, type uscis.gov, and then you're gonna go to search our site and you're gonna look up for the Form I-134. Press enter, and then it's going to be the first one. So first thing we need to check is for the expiration date of this form. Today is February 9th, 2018, and then this form expires until the end of this year. So you're going to be good with this form. Always check the date of the form. So I'm going to start. Obviously, I'm going to make up a name, but in your case, like I said, the U.S. petitioner is the one filling for this form. And let's start. So family name, you would just type your family name. Let's start with last name, so Lucas. First name, you just type your first name and your middle name. Let's say his middle name is George again. So other names used. List all the other names you have ever used, including aliases, maiden name, and nicknames. If you need extra space to complete this section, use the space provided in Part 7, additional information. This box is just in case you have ever, it pretty much says it, in the instructions. So if you use, other names, before, or you use, any other names besides, the name up here, then you will just, write the information down here. So in our case, we didn't do it, so if you don't have another one, you just leave this blank, leave this blank, leave this blank. Oh, by the way, this form, basically, the purpose of this form is to show the U.S. government that the United States citizen, so the petitioner, the sponsor, will be responsible economically of the person that he is sponsoring. So whatever the foreign fiance is, the United States citizen will have to show with information and supporting documents and this form that he or she is able to provide economically for that person. And yeah, you do need to fill this out, and if you don't, then your K1 visa probably will be denied. So let's keep on going. Sponsors, mailing address. So whatever your mailing address is, the US citizens, you will just type it here. So 101 Street number, and you just type the number. Let's say the 101 Street number 1, and then your apartment, you would just type that, whatever your apartment you live in, city or town, state, you would just it's New Jersey. I'm just gonna click this for now. Zip code, whatever your zip code is. Province, whatever your province is. Postal code, and country, United States. Are your mailing address and physical address the same? If they are yes, you just click click on here. If it's no, if you have for some reason that your mailing address is different from your physical address, then you click on no, and then like it says, if you answer no on item number 4, provide your physical address and item numbers 5A and 5H. So if you do have like a different like physical address, you would just type the address here. If you don't, just leave this blank. All this blank, 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 blank. Then other information. So date of birth, we're still talking about the U.S. citizen. So whatever your date of birth is, you type it. Town or city of birth. Wherever city you were born at, country of birth. In this case, we're going to be filling out the form. What we did is because my sponsor was a United States citizen, then she did not have an alien registration number. This alien registration number is just for people that went through the process of naturalization. So that's what you would put down here, like your alien registration number. If you don't, then just leave it blank. Then if you're a United States citizen, then you have a social security number, so you would just type it. And the USCIS online account number, if any. We didn't have one, and you probably don't have one, so you just leave that blank. And then citizenship or residency or status. If you are not a U.S. citizen based on your birth in the United States, or a non-citizen U.S. national based on your birth in America and Samoa, answer the following is as appropriate. So whatever your case is, you just have to like read through this options. So 11A, 11B, 11C, 11D, and then if you do not apply for any of these options, then you would just like skip them. So in our case, no, she was not a U.S. citizen through naturalization, so we left that blank. I am a U.S. citizen through parents or marriage. That was not the case, so we left that blank. So I derived my U.S. citizenship by another method. Then you just explain. For all these questions that say Part 7 additional information, if in some of the boxes you don't have space to write your whole like explanation on why you're writing like that answer down, then at the end of the form the USCIS gives you additional space that you can use. So I'll just show you guys how to do that at the end of the video. So again, this was not our case. If you have any one of these cases, like if you're a U.S. citizen through naturalization, you would just like click on here and you would just write down your number. The computer won't let me write down the number, but you can do it once you print it out. Just don't forget to like write your number, because any information that is not written and on this form will probably get like a request for evidence. That means that your form can be delayed, and forms already like take a lot of time to like process. So make sure to fill out everything and do not skip any questions. So if none of these cases apply for you, then you just leave this blank. Then part 2, information about your beneficiaries. So here is you're going to put the name of the foreign fiance that you're sponsoring. So because in the first part we put a guy, then I'm going to put, for this case, I'm just going to put the name of a woman. So whatever your foreign fiance's name is, you would just type this here. So I'm just going to make something up. So her middle name, and then date of birth, whatever her date or his date of birth is. Make sure to follow the format that they're putting here, right? If you're like typing it online, I mean, just to not have any issues, right? So it would be like 2 numbers for the month, two like digits for the day, I mean, and then 4 digits for the year. So gender, female, a number. So once again, if you went through the process of naturalization, then you would have an A number. If you don't, then you just leave this blank. And then country or citizenship. So whatever country your foreign fiance is from, like Germany, like Thailand, like Peru, Mexico, doesn't matter. Like you just like write it down. So let's just do this. Marital status. Remember, only people that are like single can apply for this form. So if you were married, you need to show the proof of that you like successfully, or like that you finish your divorce process. So you can click on here if you're divorced, but you need to have the proof that your marriage already ended. so you don't have any issues when like applying for the K1 visa. So in our case, we just wrote down single. Relationship to sponsor. So here's where you're gonna write fiance. And then you go up, beneficiary's physical address. So whatever your foreign fiance's address is in their home country. So because we wrote down Germany, then like we would put the address of the German fiance. So whatever your fiance's address is, I don't know. So I'm just gonna make that up. So like German Street, apartment, and then you would write down with a pen the apartment number, then city or town. I don't know. Germany, city. Just gonna write down like random stuff. State. You would just like pick whatever state. Oh, because it's a foreign like address, then you're just gonna leave that blank. Zip code, whatever their zip code is. Province, whatever their province is. Province name, postal code, whatever their postal code is, and country. So country, Germany. Beneficiary spouse, accompanying or following to join beneficiary. So in our case, because it's like the K1 visa, then we do not write down anything here. So we would just leave this blank. Beneficiary spouse, you just like leave it blank, leave it blank. And then if you have any children, if your foreign fiance has any like children, then you would write down their names here. In our case, we did not have like any like children, so we just left this blank. If you have like, just like fill out like the form, fill out the blank spaces with information shown here. So last name, first name, middle name, date of birth. If you don't have anything, just leave this blank. Leave this blank. And then employment information. So careful. It says now we switch back to the U.S. petitioner's information. So our information about the sponsor. The sponsor is a U.S. citizen, like I said. So employment information. I am currently employed at. You need to be employed because for this affidavit of support to show that you can support your foreign fiance economically, you need to have a job with like some like sort of income. So like here you would just put like employed as an. It doesn't let me write anything here, but you can write like whatever you're like, whatever the U.S. petitioner's job is. So it can be like manager, like sales manager, or like director, or whatever it is. Name of the employer. It won't let me type anything down here, but you would just write it. So I don't know, like let's say like General Motors. That's where he works, and then or self-employed as an, and then you would just write like what you do. And the next like following like steps, you're gonna be like putting like numbers down of like how much the U.S. petitioner is making. So that's why it's asking these questions. So current employer address, whatever your employer's address is. So General Motors would be like whatever they are. So General Motors Street. Apartment, you would just type down the apartment, and then city. Let's say it's in New York State, New York. Zip code, whatever the zip code is. Province, whatever the province is. Postal code, and then country, United States. So my annual income is. This part is very, very important because for this form to be approved, the U.S. petitioner has to have a level of income that it's above of the poverty level guidelines. So like, what are the poverty level like guidelines? Well, the U.S. Department of Health and Services poverty guidelines, they have a guideline of how much amount of money do you need to have in order to be above the poverty level. So for the affidavit of support, you need to be above this level. So just go to this website to check out the latest amount that the U.S. petitioner needs to make as an income in order to support like someone else, and like for the affidavit of support to be like approved, then you go here, and then because it's going to be two people in the household, so the foreign fiance of the U.S. citizen and the U.S. citizen, their income has to be above $16,460. So if you're making less than that, then you're going to have trouble with your petition. If you're like above that level, then it's fine, and then your affidavit of support should be approved if you don't have any other issues. So my annual income is, so we're still talking about the U.S. citizen, so you would just write it down here. whatever number you make, balance of all my savings and checking accounts in the United States. So whatever your bank account number has, like, you need to be like completely honest about this, because you will be showing your bank deposits as well. So like whatever that number is, you would just write it down. Value of my other personal property, so like whatever other like value like you have, you would just like write it down here too. So just say like, if you don't have any, then you just would type like 0. Like it doesn't matter. Like what the U.S. government wants to see is like how much money you have. So market value of stocks and bonds, like if you're invested in like stocks and bonds, like if you have like if you have like an exchange trade fund or like something like that, or like if your savings account is investing in this, like you can ask your employer or like whoever's like managing your fund, and then it will show up here. So it can be like 0, it can be more, like it's like up to you. Whatever like your like financial information is. I have listed my stocks and bonds in part 7, additional information. So you just have to like attach any evidence you're like putting down like here in these like numbers. So just make sure to be honest, like I said. I have a life insurance sum of, and then your employer probably like has this number, so like whatever your employer's number is, you would just type it with a cash surrender value of like whatever like their number is. Like your employer again will like know about this. Every case is different for the U.S. citizen, so you just have to like talk with your employer to see that. Real estate information. If you own real estate, you would just put like the value of it. We didn't have like real estate information, so we just like wrote down like 0, and then mortgages. So we don't have a mortgage yet, so we had to put 0. And then if you have a real estate, like if you already bought a house, then you would put like the address of the house here. If you don't own a house, then you just leave it blank. And then next step, dependents information. The following persons are dependent upon me for support. If you need extra space to complete this section, use the space provided. So if you as a U.S. citizen have any other like dependents under your name, then you would just like fill this out. In our case, because we didn't have like any dependent, because my fiance, the U.S. citizen, didn't have any dependents, then we just left this blank. If you do, then you would, if you do like have dependents, you just like fill out their information here, and then what their relationship is to you, their date of birth, and if it's like wholly dependent on you or partially dependent. If you have any other dependents, you would write down their names here. Again, we're still talking about the sponsor, if they have like any other dependents. So because we didn't have any, we just like left this blank, so we'll leave this blank. And then I have previously submitted affidavit support for the following persons. If you don't have any dependents, or if this is like the first time you're filling out this form, then you would just type here none. That's what we did, and that's how our form got approved. So we wrote down none, family name, like, so none. If you did fill out an affidavit support for someone before filling out this form, you should write down their names here. And then this part is very important. So I have submitted a visa petition to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services on behalf of the following persons. If none, write none in the space for the name below. So in this case, you, the U.S. citizen, are sponsoring your foreign fiance. So you would just write down their names here. So in our case, we were sponsoring, I forget what we put for the middle name, or you would just write down there and then write fiance here. Their date of birth, I forgot what I put up in the form, but you would write down like the date of birth of your foreign fiance. So whatever that date of birth is. And date of filing, date of the time where you filed, date of when you filed the I-129F. So whatever that date was, and then family name, we left that blank. We left this blank, 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 because we're only like sponsoring that. The U.S. citizen is just sponsoring for this particular form, just the foreign fiance for the K1 visa. So we would just leave this blank. We left this blank, and then 38. 38 is very important too. So it says, I intend or do not intend to make specific contribution to support the person name in part 2. So part 2. That was your foreign fiance. So in this case, you have to click on I intend, and then it says, if you select intend, indicate the exact nature and duration of the contributions you intend to make in Part 7 additional information. For example, if you intend to furnish room and board, state and for how long. If money, state the amount of US dollars, whether it is to be given in a lump sum, weekly or monthly, and for how long. So in the last page where it says like additional information, you will have to specify how you're planning to contribute for the foreign citizen not to be a burden for the U.S. government. So I'll get into that in like a couple minutes, so don't worry. Part 4. Sponsor statement, contact information, certification, and signature. Read the penalty section of the Form I-134 instruction before completing this statement. So, guys, remember, you always have to be very, very honest in these forms. Like, do not try to cheat the government, because like they will find out and you will have like big problems. So do not like try to like lie on this form, because like they will find out. So sponsor statement. So the U.S. citizen is the one filling out this form. So select the box of either item number 1 or 1B. If applicable, select the box for item number 2. I can read and understand English, and I have right to understand every question and instruction of this affidavit and my answer to every question. So what we did is we clicked here. The interpreter name, if you do have an interpreter, then read to me every question, instruction, answer to every question. And so if you do have an interpreter, you would select this box, and then you would type here like whatever your answer is. So, and my answer to every question in whatever your language you're speaking. Like if the U.S. citizen or the petitioner does not speak the language, you would just like click on B, and then or 2. I might request the preparer name in Part 6. His name, prepare this affidavit of support based only upon information I provide or authorize. In our case, we left this blank, so if you understand English, the U.S. petitioner, just select box A, your date, time, telephone number of the U.S. citizen, your mobile phone number, and then your email address. Careful with this, because like they will be contacting you in this email. So whatever your email is, the U.S. citizen's email, then you just type that down. Sponsor certification. Copies of any documents I have submitted are exact photocopies and altered documents. So basically all this like form says is that, like I said, like that you are like, I certify under penalty of perjury that I provide or authorize all the information in my affidavit. I understand all the information contained in and submitted with my affidavit, and that all this information is complete, true, and correct. Do not lie in these forms, because you will have legal trouble. So make sure everything you write down on this form is honest. So like that's what this says. So this affidavit is made by me to assure the U.S. government that a person named in Part 2 will not become a public charge in the United States. Like I said, this affidavit of support is for you, the U.S. citizen, to show the U.S. government that you will be able to financially sustain your foreign fiance, while the foreign fiance gets like a work permit, and while like they wait for their green card. So like that's basically what all this stuff means. And then don't forget to sign here, sponsor signature. It has to be signed with pen, black ink, and with the date of signature as when you're signing it. Like whatever that date is, you just put it here. Make sure to sign. If you don't sign, they'll return the forms and your forms will be delayed. So here, if you do have like an interpreter, then you would just like write down their name, their mailing address, and their certification, like signature, and in what language he was talking to you. This is just if you had like an interpreter. If you don't, you would just like leave that blank. Leave that blank too if you don't have one. Prepare statement. So basically, it's information that your preparer will need to fill out. So if you're filling out this on your own, then you just leave this blank. And then Part 7, additional information. So this part is very important, and this is where you're going to specify or like give the evidence of like your above answer. So family name, we have put, it won't let me write it down here, but you would just put like George Lucas, the A number. If the U.S. citizen doesn't have any, then you would just leave that blank. And in these like numbers, like whatever question you needed to fill out more information, let's make an example. So you would just like look for the page number, the part number, and the item number, and then you're gonna write it down in these little boxes. So like let's say I'm going to do it for one question. So let's go to question. This question, almost everyone needs to fill it out. So let's say page number 4, part number 3, and item number 38. So let's go to page number 4. The page numbers are here, remember. So page 7, page 6, page 5, page 4. Okay. So the one that I'm going to be writing additional information on is, I said page 4. So this is page 4, part 3. Part 3, that's what I wrote, and then item number 38. So I'm going to be writing additional information about this, about the specific contributions of support of the person name in part 2. And it says to state if you intend to help them furnish room and board, for how long, if state of amount in US dollars, and whether it is given to be a lump sum, weekly, monthly, and for how long. So you just go down to the additional information again. I said like page number 4, part number 3, item number 38, and you would just write down like how you're going to help your foreign fiance. So furnish room and board upon arrival to the USA and until beneficiary is eligible for employment in USA. At time of beneficiary's employment beneficiary and sponsor will split the cost of room and board. And then basically that's like you're giving them the answer of how you guys are going to split out the cost, or how the financial like support is going to work. And basically with this form you're going to be attaching like all the information that supports this form. So like your pay stubs, your W-2s, the tax returns, a letter of employment of your employer, then like some of your bank statements, and all those forms you're going to be like attaching with this form and sending it to the USCIS. So you're just going to print out this, remember to sign, attach all your other evidence. So also like if you have any stock, then you would just like attach a page like stating which stocks you have, like for how much amount. If you own real estate, then you're going to be attaching like your real estate information, and that's going to be attached to this form. So that's it. The form is like a little long. It seems more complicated than it is. And if you have any questions, make sure to write down the comments below. I'll try to like answer with whatever information I can help you with. And if you like this video, please give us a like and subscribe, because we want to keep publishing this content for free for like the people to help them out. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.